Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is Tuesday, and what a wild day it is. Honestly, I am still shaking from what we just watched unfold on our screens. Grab a coffee or whatever you need because we have a lot to unpack and I am not holding back. Let's just get right into it. I am sitting here staring at a blank screen, and I just keep replaying that final scene in my head over and over again. I really thought they were going to give us a last-minute rescue. You guys know how this show works, right? Usually somebody kicks down the door at the last possible second to save the day. But no, they actually did it. They actually crossed the line. I am honestly a bit tired today, and I was hoping for a standard filler episode to just coast through, but the writers just dropped an absolute bomb on us. Joe Fitzpatrick is dead. Let me say that again because I almost don't believe it myself, even after watching it. Joe Fitzpatrick is dead, murdered by the man he thought was his partner. I just cannot even process how dark this storyline just got. It was a slow burn for so long, and now it is just an absolute bloodbath. Let's back up a little bit because the way this whole sequence played out was just masterfully cruel. And I mean cruel in the way that makes you want to throw your remote at the television screen. It started out so cozy, almost funny. Joe loaded up his car with candy, and he had his grunge music playing loudly, and he was just perfectly happy to share a long stakeout with the guy he completely believed was Nathan West. He even gave him intel. He sat there and told Nathan that the syringe pulled from Britt's room held nothing but saline. He was just handing over the keys to the kingdom to the enemy, and he had absolutely no clue. It breaks my heart thinking about how trusting Joe was. He was a good cop, maybe too good. And that is exactly what got him killed. So then Boyle pulls up. Boyle hauls Jen Sidwell out of his trunk, and for a second it looked like the trap was ready to spring in the good guy's favor. You know that feeling when you think the heroes finally have the upper hand? Yeah, that lasted about 2 seconds. Because then Nathan suddenly insists there is a leak in the departer. He tells Joe they need to take Sidwell alone. No SWAT, no backup. And Joe, ever the trusting cop, just goes along with it. What were they thinking? Well, I know what Cassius was thinking, but what was Joe thinking? You never drop your backup when you're dealing with a guy like Sidwell. But I guess when your partner is a decorated hero like Nathan West, or at least you think he is, you follow his lead. That decision left Joe completely isolated in that abandoned house. And then the floor just completely dropped out. They burst into the house to arrest Jen Sidwell, and Sidwell does the absolute last thing anyone expected. He doesn't put his hands up. He doesn't try to run away. He looks right at the man Joe calls Nathan and barks at Cassius to shoot him. To shoot Joe, and you could just see the confusion on Joe's face. The total and complete bafflement. Joe got the explanation he never saw coming, right there in the middle of a life or death situation. The partner standing at his side is actually Sidwell's man. He is not Nathan at all. And Cassius? He didn't even try to deny it. He didn't stammer or try to play it off. He just raised his weapon, pointed it square at Joe's chest, and ordered the detective to drop his own gun. Honestly, I was screaming at my screen at this point. I was yelling, "Do something, Joe," but what could he do? Joe now knew the one secret the imposter has killed to protect. He knew the face was a lie. He knew the name was stolen. And he learned it in an isolated, dark, abandoned house with no SWAT outside, entirely because the imposter personally talked him out of calling for them. That wasn't just caution from Cassius earlier. That was a man systematically clearing the room of witnesses before his mask slipped. Cassius knew exactly what he was doing. And remember, Cullum had already ordered Cassius to make sure Sidwell didn't walk out of that house alive. Cassius arrived with the license to kill already burning a hole in his pocket. Joe was just supposed to be a bystander, maybe a pawn, but instead, he became a witness. And you guys, we all know what happens to loose ends on General Hospital. They don't make it home. But I still thought, maybe I'm being too dramatic, maybe Joe talks his way out of it. I really thought Joe was going to find a way to turn the tables. He is a trained detective, but Cassius was backed into a corner. Jen Sidwell is standing there, demanding loyalty, demanding that Cassius prove he is on their side by pulling the trigger. Cassius had a choice to make. Does he try to keep the Nathan charade going a little longer and turn on Sidwell? Or does he protect the secret that he has sacrificed everything for? The tension in that room was suffocating. I could barely breathe. The math was terrifying. 2 problems, 1 gun. Then it happened. Cassius coldly, ruthlessly pulled the trigger. Bang. Just like that. Joe Fitzpatrick fell to the floor. I am still in shock. I honestly thought they wouldn't go through with it. I thought maybe Cassius would just knock him out, tie him up, something. But no, he shot him dead. Joe realized his partner was an imposter, and in the next breath, that imposter took his life. The secret of Nathan West's stolen identity goes with Joe into the grave. This is a massive, massive turning point for the show. The imposter saga just turned completely lethal. It went from a slow burn game of deception, stealing DNA and fingerprints, to open, bloody warfare. Cassius is a murderer now, a cop killer. There is no coming back from this. Let's just sit with that for a second. Cassius Faison just murdered a police officer in cold blood to protect his identity. He crossed the ultimate line. Whatever tiny shred of humanity we thought he might have had because he cared about James or whatever, that is gone. It is completely gone. He chose himself. He chose the lie. He chose the dark path. And by killing Joe, Cassius has tied himself even closer to Sidwell and Cullum's twisted games. He is in so deep now that he is drowning. Honestly, part of me hates that they killed Joe, because I really liked his character. He was a good guy. But from a storytelling perspective, wow, it is brilliant and terrifying. It raises the stakes so high that the ceiling just shattered. And let's talk about the aftermath, because the writers are setting up something huge here. The body? Cassius didn't just hide the body in the woods or burn the house down. He left Joe's body there, and Dante Falconeri is the one who finds it. Dante, who has been defending Nathan to ADA Justine Turner. Dante, who thought Nathan was just doing his job. Dante walks into that abandoned house and finds his detective dead. The scene where Dante discovers Joe was absolutely gut-wrenching. You could see the devastation on Dante's face, but then you saw the wheels start turning. Because Dante is a smart cop, he is not going to just write this off as a botched arrest. Something about the scene was off. Dante noticed how the body was left. The show made a point to show Dante looking at the surroundings, looking at the way Joe fell, the angles, the lack of a struggle. It was left in a way that had a hidden meaning, almost like a message or a sloppy mistake by someone who was trying too hard to make it look like a standard shootout. Dante knows Joe. He knows Joe wouldn't have gone down without a fight, unless the person who shot him was someone he trusted. Someone he let his guard down around. Someone standing right next to him. Oh my god. You guys. Dante is starting to figure it out. He is getting suspicious. He might not know the name Cassius Faison yet, but he knows something is deeply, deeply wrong with the narrative. I can already see how this is going to play out, and I am so here for it, even though I am grieving Joe. Dante is going to start digging. He is going to look at the dispatch logs. He is going to see that Nathan was the one who called off the SWAT team. He is going to realize that Nathan was the only other person in that house. Cassius thinks he solved his problem by putting a bullet in Joe, but all he really did was create a much bigger, much more dangerous problem named Dante Falconeri. You do not mess with Dante's people. And now Dante is going to be like a dog with a bone. He is going to tear Port Charles apart looking for Joe's killer, and the killer is sitting right there at the desk next to him. But wait, let's zoom out and talk about the bigger pattern here. This fits the show's usual style of building up an imposter and then having them unravel in the most violent way possible. Think about all the times someone has stolen a face or a name in Port Charles. It never ends well. But this storyline feels different, because Cassius has been so embedded in the police force. He has been wearing the badge. He has been acting like a hero. The betrayal is so much deeper. He has been sitting at family dinners. He has been playing father to James. The psychological damage this is going to cause when the truth finally comes out is going to be astronomical. Maxie, Liesel, Dante, they are all going to be destroyed. And what about Jen Sidwell? He just manipulated a WSB agent imposter into killing a local cop. Sidwell is playing 3D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. He used Joe's death to bind Cassius to him. Cassius can't turn on Sidwell now, because Sidwell is the only other person who knows he pulled the trigger on Joe. It is a twisted, sick partnership, born in blood. Sidwell wanted to be smuggled out of Port Charles, and now he has the ultimate leverage over the man who is supposed to arrest him. Cassius has to do whatever Sidwell wants now, or Sidwell will just tip off Dante that Nathan is a dirty cop and a murderer. The blackmail material is pure gold. Honestly, I am so mad at Cassius, but I also have to applaud the actor, because he is playing this desperate cornered animal so well. You can see the panic in his eyes right before he shoots. He didn't want to do it, but he had to. Okay, maybe I'm being too sympathetic to a murderer, but you get what I mean. He is a villain, but he is a complex villain. But still, Joe didn't deserve this. Joe was just doing his job. He brought candy to a stakeout, for crying out loud. Who kills the guy who brings candy? It is just so tragic. The fans on social media are going to lose their minds over this. I've already seen people tweeting that they are going to boycott, but we all know they will be tuning in tomorrow to see what happens next. So where do we go from here? The PCPD is going to be in mourning. ADA Justine Turner is going to be out for blood. She already had a target on her back, and now one of her detectives is dead. And let's not forget Anna Devane and Felicia over in France. Anna already knows Nathan is a fake. She has figured out the Cassius Faison connection. When she hears that Joe Fitzpatrick was murdered on a stakeout with Nathan, she is going to know exactly what happened. She is going to know that Cassius is cleaning house. Anna needs to manipulate her doctor, get out of that facility, and get back to Port Charles immediately before Cassius adds anyone else to his body count. Because right now, nobody in that town is safe. And let's think about the logistics of the crime scene. Dante was looking at the body, right? What if Joe managed to leave a clue before he died? A bloody fingerprint, a scratched initial, something. Soaps love a dying message. Or maybe Dante will find the candy wrappers in Joe's car and realize Joe was completely relaxed, meaning he was ambushed by his own partner. There are so many ways Dante can piece this together. But Cassius is going to try to frame someone else. He will probably try to pin the murder on Sidwell or Boyle. He will say they got the drop on Joe, and he couldn't save him. Will Dante buy it? Not a chance. Dante's gut is already telling him the story is full of holes. I just keep thinking about the ripple effects. What were they thinking? Killing off a character like Joe right when he was getting interesting. But I guess that is the point. You have to care about the victim for the murder to matter. And it matters. It matters so much. Cassius Faison has officially become the most dangerous man in Port Charles because he has nothing left to lose. His Nathan act is crumbling, the walls are closing in, and he has a gun and a badge. That is a terrifying combination. If he is willing to kill a fellow cop to protect his secret, who else is he willing to kill? Lizo? Jocelyn? James? I don't even want to think about it. To wrap this up, because I am rambling and my coffee is cold, this episode changed everything. The imposter storyline just hit its bloody climax. Joe Fitzpatrick is dead, Cassius Faison is a cop killer, and Dante Falconeri is on the hunt. The tension is unbearable. I need to know what Dante does next. I need to know if Cassius breaks down or goes full psycho. And I need to know if Jen Sidwell actually manages to escape after causing all this chaos. Who actually believes this is going to end well? Nobody. It is going to be a disaster, and I cannot wait to watch it. Keep watching, because this show is not holding back anymore.